After emergency surgery, I begged my parents to watch my twins. They refused, choosing a concert with my sister instead. From my hospital bed, I hired a nanny, then cut ties and ended their financial support. 2 weeks later, just as life felt stable again, an unexpected knock at my door shattered the silence. Here I am, Alex, 32 years old, standing in the doorway of my modest two-story house in the suburbs, my life a tapestry of unexpected threads. I've always been the one juggling work and family, a graphic designer by trade and a single father, to my twins, Emma and Ethan, who are 5 and full of life. Their mother, Sarah, left us too soon 3 years ago, leaving me to navigate this world alone. My parents, Margaret and Robert, have always been distant, their lives revolving around social events rather than family. My sister, Laura, mirrors their detachment, always chasing the next big thrill. 2 weeks ago, life threw me a curveball I never saw coming. Appendicitis struck, and I found myself in a hospital bed, pain radiating through my body. In my moment of need, I reached out to my parents, hoping they could watch Emma and Ethan for a few days. Their response was chillingly cold. They had tickets to see Elton John with Laura, and I was nothing more than a nuisance and a burden. In that sterile, white room, with monitors beeping and my heart sinking, I made a decision that would alter everything. I hired Maria, a nanny, whose kindness shone through her eyes to care for my children. From my hospital bed, I also severed ties with my family, cutting off the financial support I had been providing them. It was a painful choice, but necessary. Now, as I recover at home, there's a knock at my door. I open it to see my mother, Margaret, standing there, her face etched with desperation. Her eyes, usually so distant, now search mine with an urgency I've never seen before. The air is crisp as I open the door, the autumn leaves rustling outside. Margaret stands before me, her usual poise replaced by a look of distress. Her eyes are red, her hair slightly disheveled, a stark contrast to her typical immaculate appearance. "Alex, please, we need to talk," she says, her voice quivering. I hesitate, the pain of their rejection still fresh. "Why should I listen now?" I ask, my voice firm but curious. She steps forward, her hands clasped together. "It's about your father. He's in trouble, Alex. We need your help." My heart skips a beat. Despite everything, the mention of my father stirs old feelings of duty and concern. I invite her in, not out of forgiveness, but out of a need to understand what has brought her here in such a state. Inside, the house is quiet, except for the soft sounds of Emma and Ethan playing in the living room with Maria. Margaret sits on the edge of the couch, her posture tense. "What could possibly have happened to my father that would bring you to my doorstep in such desperation?" I ask, my tone mixed with concern and skepticism. Margaret takes a deep breath, her eyes darting around the room as if searching for the right words. "Your father. He's made some bad investments, Alex. He's in deep with some people who aren't forgiving. They've threatened him, and now they're threatening us." I feel a chill run down my spine. My father, always the businessman, the charmer, now entangled with dangerous figures. "What kind of threats?" I press, my voice low, not wanting. The children to Margaret begins to explain, her words coming out in a rush. "Your father, he's been involved in some financial irregularities at his company. They're investigating him for embezzlement." The room seems to spin. My father, Robert, always the pillar of the community, now accused of a crime? The shock is palpable. He's been suspended, and if they find him guilty, he could go to prison, she continues, her voice breaking. "We need money for a good lawyer, Alex. We hoped you might help." The irony isn't lost on me. Here they are, needing my help after dismissing me in my time of need. Anger flares within me, but so does a sense of betrayal and confusion. "I cut you off financially for a reason, Margaret," I say, my voice cold. "You and Laura made your choice." Margaret's eyes fill with tears. "I know, and I'm sorry. We were wrong. But this isn't just about us. It's about your father's future, your family's reputation." The room falls silent, the weight of her words hanging between us. I look at her, really look at her, seeing the fear etched into her face, the lines of worry that weren't there before. My father, the man who taught me how to ride a bike, now facing the possibility of prison. Embezzlement, I repeat, the word tasting bitter on my tongue. And you expect me to just… what? Bail him out? Margaret nods, her hands wringing together. We've tried everything, Alex. We've sold what we could, but it's not enough. Your father, he made some bad decisions thinking he could cover the losses. I stand, pacing the room, my mind racing. The anger is still there, but now it's mixed, with a deep, unsettling concern. And what about these threats? Who are these people? They're not the kind you want to know, Alex. They're dangerous. They've made it clear that if your father doesn't pay back what he owes, there will be consequences. The word, consequences. The next day, I find myself back at the office, trying to focus on the design project that's due by the end of the week. But my mind is elsewhere, caught in a whirlwind of emotions and decisions. My phone buzzes incessantly, each vibration a reminder of the turmoil at home. Laura's messages flood in, each one more desperate than the last, begging me to reconsider my stance on our father's situation. I ignore them, turning my attention instead to the news articles that have begun to surface online about my father's scandal. The words embezzlement and investigation glare back at me from the screen, each headline a punch to the gut. At lunch, I meet with Maria at our usual spot, a small cafe near the office. She notices the strain on my face immediately. Over. A sandwich. I share the latest developments, the threats, the accusations. Maria listens, her expression thoughtful. Family is complicated, Alex, she says softly, her eyes meeting mine. Sometimes helping isn't about them. It's about who you want to be. It's about the legacy you want to leave for Emma and Ethan. Her words resonate with me, echoing in my mind as I return to work. That evening, after a long day, I sit with Emma and Ethan in the living room. They're playing with their toys, their laughter a balm to my troubled thoughts. Watching them, I think about the kind of father I want to be, the lessons I want to teach them about integrity, about standing by family, even when it's hard. I ponder over the choices before me. Will I choose forgiveness and support, or will I let my father face the consequences alone? The weight of this decision feels like a physical burden, pressing down on my shoulders. I remember the man who taught me to ride a bike, who, despite his faults, was there for some of my biggest moments. But then the image of him in a courtroom, the potential disgrace, the impact on my children's lives, it all swirls together in a confusing storm. As the night deepens, the house grows quiet, the only sound being the soft breathing of my sleeping. Twins, I make the decision that will shape our future. The decision weighs heavily on me. I call Margaret, my voice steady. I'll help, but on one condition. You and Laura need to step up. No more concerts, no more parties. You're going to be grandparents, not just socialites, Margaret agrees, relief flooding her voice. I arrange a meeting with a lawyer, one of the best in the city, to discuss my father's case. The meeting is tense, with my father looking older, more fragile than I remember. His once vibrant eyes now seem dimmed by worry and the weight of his actions. The lawyer, a sharp woman named Ms. Thompson, lays out the options, the costs, and the potential outcomes. She speaks of plea deals, possible jail time, and the financial burden of a defense that could keep him out of prison. It's a gamble, but one I decide to take. As we sit in her office, the air thick with tension, I watch my father. His hands tremble. Slightly as he reaches for a glass of water, his usual confidence replaced by a palpable fear. I feel a mix of anger and pity. Here is the man who once seemed invincible, now vulnerable, his fate hanging in the balance. Ms. Thompson explains, "Your father's case isn't straightforward. There's substantial evidence against him, but we can argue intent, perhaps show that he was coerced or misled. It's risky, but with the right approach, we might mitigate the damage." I nod, understanding the stakes. "What's the cost?" I ask, knowing the answer will be steep. "Significant," she replies, her eyes meeting mine. We're looking at a high six-figure sum for a robust defense. There are no guarantees, but it's his best shot at avoiding prison. I take a deep breath, the weight of the financial commitment pressing down on me. And what about these threats? Can we ensure his safety? Ms. Thompson leans back, her expression serious. We can request protective measures, but these people, they operate outside the law. It's not just about legal defense, it's about ensuring his physical safety as well. The room falls silent, the gravity of the situation settling over us. Months have passed since that tense meeting with Ms. Thompson, and the trial has finally concluded. My father, Robert, was cleared of all charges due to lack of evidence. The ordeal has left its mark on us all, reshaping our family dynamics in ways I could never have anticipated. One evening, as we sit around the dinner table, the atmosphere is different. Laughter fills the room, a sound that had become foreign in our home. Emma and Ethan, now 6, are at the center of it all, their giggles infectious. Margaret and Laura are here, their presence now a regular part of our lives. They've stepped up, just as I had demanded, becoming more involved with my children. I look around the table, watching as my mother helps Ethan with his peas, her hands gentle, her smile genuine. Laura, once so detached, now engages Emma in a playful conversation about her day at school. It's a scene I never thought I'd see, and it stirs something deep within me. The true value of family, I realize, isn't about perfection or constant support. It's about showing up when it counts, about forgiveness and second chances. My relationship with my parents and sister isn't what it once was, but it's something new, something stronger. There's a bond forming, one that's been tested by fire and has emerged more resilient. As I watch my children play, their innocence a stark contrast to the complexities of adult life, I know I've made the right choice. Not just for my father, but for the future of our family. The decision to help him, to stand by him despite everything, wasn't just about saving him from prison. It was about setting an example for Emma and Ethan, about teaching them the importance of family, of loyalty, even when it's hard. In the end, did I make the right decision, or was it just the beginning of another chapter in our complex family saga? The answer isn't clear-cut. But as I see my father, now a changed man, his eyes no longer dimmed by fear but by a newfound humility, I feel a sense of peace. He's not the same man who taught me to ride. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.